So I'm hoping this anniversary will be one of the greatest patches that has ever been patched into the game. If we're getting a small patch like this, I hope 2.3 is going to blow everything out of the water. And especially when comparing it to PGR, oh, I hope you're going to offer more than what PGR has offered in the past. I mean, look at what's going on right now. We got a bunch of rewards including a free S rank that is really strong. And it's just for a half anniversary. Half! Definitely should expect a free 5-star. Better yet, a free debuting 5-star. Whoops, looks like I set my expectations too high, didn't I? Well, a part of me always knew that Wuthering Waves will never receive the PGR treatment, but it never hurt to believe that one day it could. Anyway, it was quite an interesting week leading up to this update. I wanted to put my 2 cents in the conversation, but the thing was that I knew how the whole thing will unfold. People will be unhappy with QoL and will definitely make it known how unhappy they are. Then QoL will try to let everyone know that they messed up and will do their best to turn things around. Yeah, I've seen this song and dance. It's why I didn't want to talk about it, and frankly, it's exhausting to think about. Don't worry, I'll still throw in my 2 cents later, but for now, I just want to talk about my thoughts on the content that I have experienced so far in this version, which is the main point of these videos. Also, I will not talk about Sukona's quest or the other half of the patch because, well, it's not even out yet, and if it's good, no notes. If I have issues with the latter half, you'll see me in the next video. Also, hello, if you're new here, welcome to my video series where I, some random guy on the outskirts of the internet, makes a progress report on every single Wuthering Waves update and give my thoughts about it that no one really asked for. Basically being Mr. Nitpicky McGee. But honestly, it's just fun to look at where we are now and compare that to where we came from. Anyway, let's start with okay, Zani, here's what you need to do. You need to act like Christopher Nolan's Batman. Can you do that?
Let me tell you, weakling, if you've lost respect for the law, then fear me instead. I'll be watching you.
Okay, she's doing her best, guys. She's doing her best. Over the course of Wuthering Waves, I've felt that some character quests have been hit or miss to me. They've had some great moments, but there were some parts of the quest that I was not a fan of, like the first half of Carlotta's quest, or honestly, I was not a fan of the entirety of Roach's companion quest. For the most part, I understood that most of the effort was put into the main story and the companion quest was something that came out to be an extra story for us to engage with, and at times turn it into an epilogue while focusing on a specific character like Cantarella's companion quest. So I usually come into these feeling that I'm going to roll the dice on whether or not I'm going to enjoy these quests to some degree. That said, Zani's quest is alright. In many ways, I feel like this quest was the kind of quest that treated the character with a lot of respect, which you can totally feel. But I realized there was something strange about this quest. But before I talk about what I found strange, first, let me talk about what I enjoyed, which was the developing relationship between Rover and Zani. The best way I would describe it is organic. You see, before the companion quest, we've already interacted with Zani on a professional level, and her personality was shown to us at a surface level. What's fascinating about this companion quest is that instead of reiterating on what we already knew about Zani, they move forward under the assumption that we already know what Zani's deal is. At least, what we know so far. And over the course of the quest, we're able to see little by little what's under the hood, and watch how our relationship shifts from being professional with each other to being friends. It's no secret that I'm not exactly a fan of the weird Gooner moments that are ham-fisted into a story. Actually, it feels like they've been doing it a lot recently, so it's a bit refreshing to find a quest where we're not some kind of vaguely suggestive romantic interest. We're just a friend who was helping out another friend as we close a chapter to a character arc. Side note, thank God we didn't get a dance number. I swear, ever since we've stepped foot into Renacida, I'm almost expecting a random dance cutscene to pop out of nowhere. Anyway, so the other thing I want to talk about is the pacing of this story. In the beginning, the pacing was pretty smooth. It's filled with some action moments balanced out with some slow moments, neither side being dragged out. It was cohesive and it moved the plot along nicely. And shockingly, I enjoyed the slow moments, like the one where Zani and Rover are just sitting there talking about the Talos case. Here, they allow the voice acting and dialogue carry these slow sections, letting the personality of the character to shine. It's pretty damn engaging. But the moment we went underground, I felt like everything slowed down to a snail's pace. I think I was slowly zoning out as we progressed, and it was until we got to the end was where the story started to pick up again, only to find that the heavier parts of Zani's backstory was at the end of the quest. Remember when I talked about that really good cutscene at the end of the 2.2 main story where I mentioned that it feels out of place? Well, this situation is a little similar. You see, a lot of the Zani backstory stuff was mostly suggested across the quest, but when it came to the full backstory reveal, it was placed heavily at the end, which is strange because they could have littered bits and pieces of the story behind the Blazing Nightwalker. Like, we were already asking questions to random people about the Blazing Nightwalker, so why not have those parts get woven into it? It got to a point where I feel like I'm playing the quest to be rewarded with a stylistic cutscene. Like, imagine if they pulled this move in the 2.2 story with the Fleur-de-Lis's origin story where instead of getting a cutscene after we put the sword in, they just saved that whole thing for the end. Just slap it on right before the final cutscene. What we'll get is just us slotting the sword in and going, okay, chop chop, next sword. I get that it's not like Cantarella's quest where we directly retrace her past, but the whole quest feels like us moving the plot along while holding everything back, because as much as it's mostly just business while at the same time seeing our relationship evolve, beyond that, it feels like the other times we've had a quest with Zani in it. The only thing that was different was that at the end, the floodgates opened up with that cutscene, and somehow it feels like we were trauma dumped on, which caught me off guard. Oh well, at least some of the on-the-nose Batman references were funny, but it did slowly start to feel a little too cringe. Okay, you know they had to do it. Wait, Calcaro's finally in the game? Oh, that still counts, right? So, as this is the first anniversary for Wuthering Waves, QoL decided to have a little fun and bring out a special anniversary quest where we dive into a gaming simulation in celebration of this anniversary.
Do you know someone celebrating their very first anniversary today?
Oh, yes, I do.
It's second coming of Solaris!
Never mind. Anyway, the simulation is a cute little blocky world where you and your friends are recreated in a QB manner. But everything goes south when an evil Abby popped out. Sorry, a Bowser. Oh, QoL with their on-the-nose references. Anyway, a Bowser stole the cake and kidnapped some of our QB friends, so we have to save our friend, save the cake, and stop her. Pretty simple concept. This event is just a combat gauntlet where we use QBs to fight alongside you and provide special buffs. After each combat engagement, you're able to gain some currency and mods to upgrade and modify your QBs. Pretty straightforward, though somehow it reminds me of something. I'll be honest, I wasn't having fun, nor was I bored either. The best way I could describe it is just another event that kind of didn't stand out as much to me. I felt like I was doing the same thing over and over and over again, and trust me, the moment I got to floor 21, I was exhausted and I started questioning what I was doing. Sure, story-wise, there's some silly antics here and there, but at the end of the day, aside from the final cutscene, this was quite forgettable. If anything, I think I had more of a celebratory feeling from the 1.2's Moon Festival, and in fairness, it did have a gripping character story tied to it, and I guess you can go on a date with Jin Si, so that's a huge plus. I mean, what did we get in this one? I guess. Maybe because the setting of this thing takes place in a simulation of sorts, it makes this whole thing feel a little more distant. And in the end, it had me feeling a little apathetic about this whole event, which sucks because I feel like this is the meat of the anniversary. Though, I will say that those blocky characters are really cute. Love what they did with it. Look at Phoebe! Her cheeks are extra pinchable! The other event that is featured as part of the anniversary is the Memory Travelogue, a simple event where we go to certain spots that hosted pivotal moments in our journey on Solaris 3, and relive them in a very blocky and slightly revisionary manner. Hang on a sec, that's not Zhang Liao, what's Calcaro doing here? For a small event, I will say I think it did a great job in honoring your journey throughout this game since 1.0. It's a commemoration event where they say, hey, remember you did this? Or remember how special this moment was to you? If anything, this small event gave me the celebratory feeling that I was missing from the main anniversary quest. Finally, one other anniversary event that is here is the QB Derby event, where you get a bunch of die by doing your daily tasks and other activities and then use them to move your little QB character around the board so you can obtain a bunch of rewards. And once you circle around the track 12 times, you can get a special skin for your Echo Wings. Which, side note, A little on the nose that they're giving out a skin for Echo Wings, but at the same time not allowing us to fly in Huanglong. Look, I've said it once before and I'll say it now. We made it to Rinascita, we deserve to fly everywhere. I just hope they don't clip our wings when we go to the next region. Anyway, putting that aside, in the latter half of the patch, this event will then turn into a popularity contest where it looks like they will pass out even more rewards. Speaking of rewards, as far as rewards go, well, it's not the most impressive amount. Truth be told, 5-star or no 5-star, whatever the amount of rewards we get, as long as it's more than what we normally get, I'd be okay with it. For any gacha game, I think it's the minimum that's to be expected, right? And I guess that's what we got. If we want to talk about the anniversary, what should matter more is the content we get as part of the celebration. The rewards are just a bonus. But the thing is, I wasn't exactly whelmed by this whole anniversary shebang. Sure, I guess in the main event there are more combat challenges after you complete the story. Also, they released 2 new holograms, Lorelei and Fertile, so if you're one of those hardcore players, hey, there's something for you. But putting that aside, after beating both stories and getting all the asteroids on offer, it made me go, oh, that's it? And while that's going on, in the back of my mind, I'm constantly plagued by questions of, is there more they could do? And what more could they have done? I think the truth is that the anniversary was never going to be an event that spans the entire town with celebratory interactions and whatnot. Maybe it was supposed to be a small filler patch with a special thank you. Wait, another dance number? I thought we were done with dance numbers. Now, there's a couple of elephants in the room that I think is worth addressing as people have been complaining about them over the course of this anniversary. First, let's talk about the gifts of Grand Celebration. This is supposed to unlock on the day of the launch day of Wuthering Waves. Unfortunately, if you want to use these pulls for Zani, well, you better use them in those 3 hours before the next banner comes in, otherwise, tough luck, champ. So there's 2 ways to look at this. For the first one, we can say that we're already celebrating the anniversary with the QB event, and we're already receiving anniversary gifts since we started playing this patch. Sure, it's like 20 plus days early, but why not have it unlocked early? Or maybe put the 10 rolls elsewhere and have that avatar be the only thing that's locked behind the event. Or maybe it'd be cool if the Zani banner along with the other banners persist into the second half of the patch. The other way to look at this, and it's how I'm seeing this, is that if you're rolling for Zani, you're already probably going to be using rolls and asteroids anyway, and by the time you get Zani, well, boom, here's your extra free 10 rolls. So these 10 rolls are not going to vanish, you're going to get them at a later time. I'm going to be honest, I'm a little confused as to why people are complaining about this one. Does it suck that most of you aren't able to use those 10 rolls for the Zani banner? Sure, but if you want her, you're going to get her anyway. And trust me, I'm not a fan of time gating, but this is to celebrate the official launch of Wuthering Waves. I personally think this is fine. My only point of criticism is that I wish it was asteroids instead of limited rolls, so you can convert them to either weapon rolls or limited rolls. And if you're going to ask what if you're 10 rolls off, then you better be there when the rewards unlock. But also, it's a gacha game. Part of playing the game is learning how to manage your resources. The other thing I don't get is that apparently Genshin Impact pulled this move, which is why people are against it, which, I mean, I guess. But I struggle to see how that's a reason. I don't know the drama surrounding this specific event, but I don't see anyone losing out on anything. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is what people call a spending event. So the event they're referring to is the Gilded Night Market, where you gain currency by doing activities in the game, or rolling in the weapon and character banners so you can unlock the ability to buy some items in this store. Here's my take on this. I think calling this a spending event is totally missing the mark. It's not a spending event. Here's the difference. A spending event has a real dollar value tied to the ability to purchase items from the store. If this is truly a spending event, that means that free-to-play players will have no access to this event, which is obviously not true in this case. It's an important distinction to make. Now, here's some small things to note. You can get currencies by playing the patch, but you will be unable to snag all of the goods from the store, as some items require you to accumulate a certain amount of currency to have the ability to purchase them. So that will mostly come from you rolling in the banners. You may have noticed that there are some limited rolls being offered in this store, and there are people out there who aren't happy that if they choose to save for the entirety of this patch, they will miss out on getting those rolls. And all I can say is, yeah, it feels bad. I mean, in Nikkei, it's sort of a thing right now. You see, I already have Little Mermaid, and in the back of my mind, it's eating away at me that I can't get those rewards that's on offer in their thing because I see no reason to roll more in this patch. Look, we're playing a gacha game, and gachas are inherently predatory. Anything tied to the banner system itself would also be predatory as well, which includes the QoL Store. But here's the main difference of what makes the night market different from the QoL Store. For the QoL Store, the currency and the ability to buy won't go away as it carries over. Sure, the roles will reset, but the ability to buy won't go away. For the Gilded Night Market, it's temporary, meaning that if you save, you'll never have the opportunity to reap the benefits of this store if you end up rolling past this patch. It's a very use it or lose it case. You can look at this as a bonus of sorts or maybe a refund for people who roll in this patch like it's an extra QoL store, which is good. But on the other end, I sympathize with those who wants to save for the entirety of this patch, as it's not only an extra QoL store, it's a temporary one for those specific banners. So is it predatory? Not to the degree where it's asking for real money, but I do think it sucks for the few who won't be able to take advantage of this. Hey, don't let the whole anniversary drama distract you from some awesome QoL changes. We got some small things like the new birthday rewards that comes with a shiny crown you could put on your head, which is a fun little thing. I like that. I hope we can get more accessories like that in the future beyond just birthday rewards. And then there's the on-text glossary for people who are lost in the sauce, which for the people still in the 1.0 area, it's definitely needed. Then for the big changes, there are no cooldowns for boss respawns, which is a huge deal. No more wasting time waiting around when you're farming for boss echoes. And finally, QoL gave out some high-end optimization features to more devices along with an AMD performance upgrade. The other QoL change is the modifier. Shockingly, that's exactly what it's called. Anyway, what it does is change the main stat of an echo that has not been upgraded. Basically, the modifier is almost useless. You see, 4-cost echoes and 1-cost echoes are easy to come by, and it's really easy to get the desirable main stat. However, when it comes to the 3-cost echoes, that's where the modifier would come in clutch. Honestly, it would have been cooler if we're able to use this device to change our main stat on stuff that already has some good substats, so that way we can upgrade our useless echoes and then change the main stat afterwards to make them useful if they have good substats. Either way, this is an okay QoL addition, but it's not that big of a deal. But you know what's the most important QoL change? Being able to enable immersion mode without having to navigate through the menu. You know what? 2.3 is the best update ever. No competition. Now, the next step is to remove the eye thing and the UID. You're so close, QoL. But really, I think the biggest deal that we should be talking about is that Wuthering Waves is finally on Steam. That means no extra launcher. It might sound like a small deal, but I am tired of having to download another launcher when I want to play a new game. There's also the case that if Wuthering Waves is on Steam, that means that more players will be exposed to the game. So overall, huge positive and one less launcher to deal with. Next step is to get PGR into Steam. That would be nice. Please, QoL, work your magic. Okay, so the reason why it took me much longer to get this video out was because of this section. I wrote a bunch of stuff about expectations and perspectives and trying to dissect the disappointment coming into this patch. But as I wrote down a bunch of stuff, I started deleting a bunch of stuff as well because something didn't feel right about it. I started asking myself, what do I want to say? What was I trying to say? This whole ordeal was so exhausting. And all of this chaos that ensued surrounding this patch didn't help, and frankly it was annoying, especially the whole dick measuring contest between Hoyo and WuWa. It's absolutely needless, and I couldn't care less about it. I mean, it's easy to make shots at them, but it's going to do nothing in the long run. Watching the back and forth was really killing my motivation to be even part of this conversation. But at the same time, I felt the need to say something, so here it is. But let me warn you, you will not find any validation, no solace, nor any wisdom coming from what I say, because the truth is, I think I wasn't too upset about what was going on. Was I disappointed that it didn't meet my expectations? Yes, but I knew there was a good chance that QoL won't meet them in the first place. That's not the problem. What I really cared about is searching for the right question to truly evaluate this patch, and it started with, is it enough? The answer is simple, I don't think what we got was enough, but in answering that, something still felt wrong. I had to dig deeper. So I went and reviewed what I played throughout this patch, and I got no answers. I was mostly indifferent when playing this patch. I'm sure people can have their fun with it, but was it truly a fulfilling experience? Then I looked back at the livestream and I wondered, why did this livestream feel weird to me? All of these questions built up my bewilderment over this 2.3 patch, and it was then I found the real question that we should be asking. is the content that we got enough to represent what the anniversary is? Looking back at the stream, I realized that with all the pomp and circumstance, there wasn't a lot to begin with. Take away the hype, the orchestras, and the grandstanding thank yous, and what you get is a filler version with some added anniversary events attached to it. And if you weigh the amount of rewards that is needed to be provided against the amount of content we got, it makes sense. We got the rewards from the mail, we got the rewards from logging in, and we got the rewards from those special events. Where else could the rewards come from? And that's the thing. 2.3 was a filler patch that was never going to be more than it ever was. It made me think about how PGR dealt with their anniversary. They didn't really draw a lot of attention to their anniversaries. They simply acknowledged it. And yes, PGR has always been different, and most of the time, the most we got is an inside look at the lovable dorks that are the QoL devs. But they never made it more than it could ever be. Sure, WuWa is a way bigger game, and maybe they needed a bigger celebration, as the audience for that game is bigger. I won't deny that. They had every opportunity to go big or go home. And they did go big with their special livestream. But personally, the hype in the livestream didn't seem to reflect what we actually got in terms of content. So again, when we look back to what 2.3 is, it was always going to be a filler patch that just so happens to have an anniversary tied to it. They threw in some extra rewards, ran 12 limited banners, and gave us a small event quest along with a couple of anniversary event stuff to do. Then, as part of the foundation of the patch separate from the anniversary, we get 2 companion quests. And then that's all it ever needed to be. I think it was unfortunate that there was a lot of hype built up behind it no matter where it came from, but I will say that from the presentation of the livestream itself, the hype radiating from it didn't feel like it matched the weight of what we got in terms of the content or rewards. Oh yeah, and I guess it's worth mentioning that it certainly didn't help with the fact that there was a fatal mistranslation in the livestream when the crazy multi-banner offering was being talked about, which sent the wrong message and riled everyone up like, holy localizers. If this error happened, I wouldn't put it past QoL to have a lot of what they said to be lost in translation. It also didn't help that 1 hour before WuWa's stream, Nikke had their anniversary stream where they gave out a bunch of rewards, which was honestly unfortunate timing. As for my case and some other PGR players, we're just getting off of a high from our half anniversary, so we came in super excited to see what WuWa's first Annie was going to be like. Wherever these expectations come from, I think everyone can agree that we were hoping for their first Annie to blow everything out of the water. I don't want to invalidate what you're feeling for 2.3. I'm just here to provide a different perspective. If anything, you have every right to feel what you're feeling. Whether you like something or not, or you have fears for the future of the game, I get it. In my own opinion, I think both the players and QoL may have been a bit too carried away over how this 2.3 thing was supposed to play out. And since both sides were raising the bar, one side hoping for more and the other side presenting with more, I don't think what the players are feeling is an overreaction. I think it's just a reaction. But putting the hype aside, going back to the original question I gave myself, is the content enough to represent what the anniversary is? Even if it was a small gift for us, I would still say no. I felt that the anniversary content was mostly forgettable to me. And beyond that, the patch was business as usual with the 2 companion quests. I will say that it was nice that they gave us something to do for the anniversary, but I didn't really care for it, which might be the root of my dissatisfaction. And if you disagree with me, that's okay. The truth is that everyone has a different vision over what this version was supposed to be, which is why there was so much chaos in the first place. And yes, there's some bad actors out there, but call me naive, but I genuinely think that a lot of people who were disappointed wanted to see this game blow everything out of the water for their first anniversary because I think they love this game. Wuthering Waves version 2.3 is a filler patch that just so happens to have an anniversary tied to it. Nothing more, nothing less. Unfortunately, I felt that the anniversary content was forgettable and that the rewards felt a bit lackluster in the face of the grand celebratory feel that was being expressed in the livestream. I wish there was more to this, but there's not. Was I disappointed? Yes. But is that going to turn me away from the game? No. The game is still fine. Did they lose my trust? Not in the slightest. And look, if I want to feel the full force of QoL's generosity, I'm already playing PGR and I'm a happy Commandant. I mean, in the upcoming patch, we're getting 2 really strong S-Rings for free, Feral 21 and Alpha Crimson Weave, and we're also getting Crimson Weave's signature weapon and cup for free. That means most players will have a nearly filled out Meta Lightning team. Alongside that, we're also getting the brand new S-Rank Lilith Demonessa for free. And later down the line, when we hit the collab with DMC, we're getting Dante for free, and the banners will be discounted along with the unique ruling where if you get one copy of a character, you get a second one for free. It's great. I'm sure WuWa players are jealous of this level of generosity, but for a game like WuWa, it's unsustainable to do what PGR is doing, which is why I sound mostly indifferent to the whole thing despite me wishing for more. Anyway, overall, as a version, this might be my least favorite version. Does that mean Wuthering Waves is a bad game? No. It's just that this version didn't do much to entertain me. And yes, I'm only talking about the first half, but as far as first halves go, it didn't do much to grab my interest. If anything, I'm already excited for what 2.4 has to offer. Kuro teased a little of what we're going to be getting, and we know who is coming. So there's a lot to look forward to beyond this patch. It's crazy to think that it's been one whole year since WuWa's launch, and honestly, it was a wild ride. What was fascinating to me was how fast the Kuro devs were in tackling most of the problematic issues that have been plaguing the game since launch. Is it perfect? No. The 1.0 experience is still rough, and it's a stark contrast to what we experienced in the 2.0 cycle. Some of the decisions they've made, I personally disagree with, and I hope it doesn't become more than it is. Their story writing has been improving, but there's some small problems here and there, and there's a lot more they can do, like maybe take a page out of PGR's book and finally give us a dummy training room. Despite that, Wuthering Waves is a fun game, and I'm grateful that they made it this far and listened to the feedback in order to make the game better for us all. And yeah, I'm just some random guy on the outskirts of the internet, so I'm pretty sure Kuro has never heard of any of my critique. But their actions addresses some of my criticisms, making it seem like I'm being heard, even though I know all too well that's not the case. It just shows that what we see as an issue is what they see as well. That said, regardless of what I say about this patch, I do hope you enjoy it. And truly, happy anniversary, Wuthering Waves. It's been a journey. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now. I'm sure there's some stuff I've missed, but I don't want this video to go on any longer. So if you like the video, do leave a like. If not, put it down in the comments as to why, and maybe subscribe. And hey, if you subscribe, maybe that will increase your chances of winning your 50-50 for Cartathea. And if you're a Veridog, well, I'm happy for you.